Yeah, Rick Flat, Weatherman, Hieroglyphics, what up? Okay.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is Wednesday, Worldwide Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. Holler at ya. This is episode 735, 734, 735 of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am Two Thumbs, All Smiles, Sore Throat, your host, Dr. Gerald Auger. And over the next hour, you, what's up, Abdullah Niazi? Good to see you. Over the next hour, you, Chuck Sapp, Marcus Kyler, Augusta Delgado, James McQuiggan, literally at 35,000 feet, coming at you from seat 3B in the skies. Flakinator, Philip Cook, my man, Justin Curtis, Trey Black, Paul Savage. Guys, we're all going to shred the top cyber news of the day. And we're going to be ripping out the value from those stories on what we can distill the essence and how we can use this information to drive cyber risk reduction for our business stakeholders. It's not just about, Blue Badge official, Brent B in the house. Welcome to the club. Guys, we're going to be shredding the top news. There's always something to glean from it. Tabletop exercises, best practice, geopolitical maneuverings, nation states, what's cracking. I don't prep or research for any of the show that we're going to be doing right now, so I don't know the stories that are coming. You'll be getting my honest reactions. What's up, Jenny Housley, Casually Joseph, Eric Taylor in the mod chat. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you all for the well wishes yesterday and today. I'm powering through. But we'll get to it. Rain or shine. You know what? Threat actors don't take a day off. Can't be like, I'm not feeling well. Can you attack me tomorrow? Nope. So we're going to get through it. Now, before I dive into it, I want everybody to know two things. One, it's Worldwide Wednesday, so you can expect a really, really fun activity in about 5 minutes as we demonstrate just how freaking awesome, diverse, inclusive, and international this community is. But before I do it, let's talk about the stream sponsors, starting with Barricade Cyber. Shout out Barricade. DJ BSEC, a.k.a. Mr. Worldwide, coming hot. Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and recover from the damage done. Cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and set dedicated, hard-working business owners into turmoil. But guess what, y'all? Barricade Cyber Solutions knows exactly how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents. They know how to yeet threat actors out the environment. Believe me when I tell you, digital firefighters, you want Casually Joseph, Justin Gold, Eric Taylor on your side when an active intrusion's all up in your place. Ain't nobody got time for that. So bookmark at barricadecyber.com. Links in the description below. Also want to say shout out to Delete Me. Now, many of you know that I am using Delete Me. Been using them for a few months, enjoying it. Guys, I'm a public person. I get up here every day, do scream therapy. I give my opinions, I give my hot takes, and sometimes they're not necessarily aligned with what you're thinking. Sometimes I get some trolly comments in the YouTubes, right? So I'm aware of my safety and security. Unfortunately, it's easy to find personal information, including mine. Oh my God. Alexa, stop. My digital assistant's trying to take over the stream. Listen. My data's out there on the internet, but guess what, y'all? I recently found a solution, and this service is called Delete Me. Delete Me is a subscription service that removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web, and in the process, helps prevent potential ID theft, doxing, and phishing scams. And when you sign up, you tell Delete Me what data you want actually removed from the internet. I said, get it all, take it all away, and they go off and do it. It's like basically outsourcing your online privacy, which is super cool. And for accountability, once a month, they send you a really nice detailed report on all the things that they deleted or what they're in progress of doing, because some data brokers are tricky and they don't delete it right away, okay? So this is interesting to you. Definitely worth looking at. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me Now at the special discount for all y'all Simply Cyber listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and use promo code simplycyber at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and enter code simplycyber at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/simplycyber. Also Antisyphon, but more about those beautiful babies. John Strand, their upcoming course November 4th at the mid-roll. Guys, every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, just like episode 735, is worth half a CPE. So what do you do with half a CPE? Don't worry about that. I got you. Simple. Say what's up in chat. Grab a screenshot. Okay, super easy. Phil Stafford just said something. Rosemont said something. Flakinator. Kimberly can fix it. Just grab a screenshot. Chris Whitlock, GRC Mafia. Boom, half a CPE. October 23rd. File it away once a year. Count the number of screenshots, files. You could even automate it. Write a little script. That's the number of CPEs divided by 2. Simple, done, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Get your CPEs, yeah? All right. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome to the party, pal. Do us a favor. You picked a good day. Drop a hashtag first timer in chat. If today is your first episode of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief, maybe it's your first live, maybe it's your first time in chat, drop a hashtag first timer and let us welcome you properly. And if you're a regular, hashtag Team SC in chat. If you're a regular, you know exactly what we're cracking on up in here. All right, guys, without further ado, I am excited because every day of the week has a special segment. Oh my, what is that? What doth my ears heareth? Is it the Daft Punk? It is. Guys, I love Wednesdays. Worldwide Wednesday, y'all, is presented by ACI Learning. It's a sponsored segment. Thank you, ACI Learning. IT Pro from ACI Learning is sponsoring the international online training solution that professionals in audit, cyber, and IT turn to for binge-worthy content. You can use my promo code Auger30 to get 30% off your first month or first year. If you like edutainment, Daniel Lowry, Sophie Goodwin, it's really good educational content presented in a very polished, professional way. I've got a pinned comment right now on YouTube with the link and the code. So just take a look at that. Very, very happy that they choose to partner with Simply Cyber and sponsor Worldwide Wednesday. So here's what we got to do, y'all. Oh, yeah. I'm going to set the timer. The 2 minutes, 22 seconds. I'm going to yell at you and ask you to tell me where you are. And we're going to light up this map, and I'm going to show you how awesome our community is as we get every continent represented. 2 minutes, 22 seconds. And we're off and running. Let me know right now. Where are you? Where are you? Let's go. FedEx representing Florida. United States is online. What's up? Philly, Utah. Abdullah Niazi bringing Afghanistan online. We got some Middle East action. South Carolina, Brent B, my man. I'm in the low country. Dirty Jurors, Michael Andruzzi. What's up, South Florida? Good old Alabama. Cali getting up early, only Bitcoin. The DR's in the house. Brazil, Gustavo bringing on South America. New Brunswick, Canada, Tony Roy. What's up? San Francisco getting up early. Texas, Arkansas, DC, Auburn, Michigan. Oklahoma's in the house. My man, Macon, Georgia, Anna Lynn. We got Jersey, West Virginia. Flo Rida, Pueblo, Colorado getting up early. What's up, Sean Porter, bringing Australia online? We're almost there. Where's our Africa? Where's our Africa, folks? Kansas City, Atlanta, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is in the hizzy. We got the UK in the house. Across the pond. Canada, nice. Colombia, we got more South America. The Philippines is online. Tom Bishop, the boot. Philippines, Pacific Rim is in the house. Where is our Africa? Nadine G representing Ethiopia's in the house. All right, we got it, guys. Now we're just flexing. We got 30 seconds and we're just flexing now. Because we did it. Tampa, Alabama, Arizona, Chi-Town. What's up, Chicago? Dimitri B in Russia. Why not? Let's go, Dimitri. Thanks for representing. First time getting Russia in the Worldwide Wednesday. We'll take it. That lights up a huge swath. First time ever South America's had more than Africa. Boom. Seattle getting up early. All right. Guys, allow me to introduce you to the Simply Cyber community. We've got North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Pacific Rim, Middle East. The DR was in there. We're going to say the DR is, there it is, Central America. Guys, we straight crush it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Great job, everybody. We're killing it. We're killing it. I'm so proud of us. I love the Simply Cyber community. Hold on, Fred on, representing Ghana. We'll do a late ad of Africa there. All right, guys, do me a favor. As fun as it is to play the games, we do have work to do. Remember, right after the streams today, we're doing jaw jacking, and then 2 Cyber Chicks is dropping a bomb. Season 5, Episode 5. You may recognize Kathy Chambers, Team SC member. She, Erica, and Jack's going to bring in the heat. But right now, we're going to let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us in an awesome way. Sit back, everybody. Let's get into the news.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. I'm Sean Kelly. 4 cyber companies fined for SolarWinds disclosure failures. On Tuesday, the SEC announced fines totaling roughly $6 million against Checkpoint, Avaya, Unisys, and Mimecast for their lackluster disclosures related to the 2020 SolarWinds Orion software compromise. The SEC said the companies made materially misleading disclosures related to the incident that further victimized shareholders and the investment community. The fines result from a years-long investigation into public companies potentially impacted by the SolarWinds compromise.
Okay. So this is interesting, really interesting, okay? Couple things here. One, these companies are getting fined, okay? So, like, that's legit, and it's from the SEC or the Security Exchange Commission. They're the watchdog that makes sure that publicly traded companies don't commit fraud and abuse their shareholders. There's a lot of potential for scamming and manipulation, insider threats, all that stuff, or insider trading. Now, a couple years ago, SolarWinds attack happened, and I don't say this lightly. I do not say this in an exaggerated way to make a point, hyperbolically speaking. I mean what I'm about to say. I believe the SolarWinds attack is the most sophisticated, elegant attack to date. Stuxnet was very elegant, very cool. I'm going to give the slight nod to SolarWinds, okay? If you don't know about the SolarWinds attack, go look it up. There's extensive research, extensive coverage on it. Unbelievable, okay? Now, just at a very high level so we can understand why this is happening. SolarWinds provides basically management software for businesses to see their IT infrastructure, right? So if you have like 50,000 endpoints, 200 different countries, you can't send an engineer out everywhere. You need like a console to look at, right? So the SolarWinds solution does that, the Orion solution. Russia basically got in to a developer's account. I'm simplifying this really, and then started writing code and committing it as the developer. It started getting pushed through. Russia realized they could do it. Then they started writing backdoors, malware, all this. It got pushed. So now, instead of infecting all these companies, they basically like they essentially like process hollowed SolarWinds to infect all these companies. They got into the Department of Energy, Department of Defense, Fortune 500 companies, like all over the place. Okay. Now, Jeff S. Wrecking Ball. I don't even know. I didn't even see the update. I'm just taking action on Lara Flores. Congratulations, Jeff S. Love the Wrecking Ball sound effect. Okay. I'm getting to the point here because this actually pisses me off. Okay. Spoiler alert. Okay. So tons of companies got impacted. In this case, 4 particular companies that were included in the impact are Checkpoint, Avaya, Unisys, and Mimecast. Now, Checkpoint is definitely a security company. Checkpoint does like VPNs and network security. Mimecast is an email security gateway. Avaya and Unisys. I think Avaya is like a telecom company, and Unisys, I'm not sure. I think Unisys is like a generic IT technology company. But anyways, they are publicly traded. They were compromised essentially by Russia through the SolarWinds attack, and they didn't disclose it correctly to their public shareholders. So they're getting charged and fined and everything. Here's what pisses me off. Like this fine, this stick punishment, right? Like hitting them with a stick. This is all because they didn't disclose it to shareholders, so investors could make decisions on whether to invest and the value of the company and all that. This has nothing to do with the clients or customer base of these 4 technology companies, right? So let me just put it this way. Let's just say I'm using Mimecast, right? Mimecast gets compromised by Russia through the SolarWinds attack. Mimecast doesn't really disclose it or announce it or anything. So now I'm running an email security gateway protecting my business, but it's upstream potentially compromised by nation state threat actor level things. Could be putting backdoors into the Mimecast solution. Who knows? Could be, spying or like, it doesn't matter, right? So there's no like punishment. There's no investigation. None of that. It's because they didn't tell the shareholders who are talking about, and it just, I don't know, man. It just rubs me wrong. It's always bothered me that like the people who are getting protected by these regulations and like the oversight and, watchdogs, it's around the money part of it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say if you're using one of these products, I mean, it's been, years. So like the risk of exposure is probably already been realized if it's going to happen. But no, SolarWinds, holy crap. SolarWinds was in 2020. Wow. I thought it was like 2 years ago, 4 years ago. So anyways, if you're a publicly traded company, you know this already, but you can't mess around with disclosures. This is why Eric Taylor's always dropping 8K filings. When businesses get hit, and they're publicly traded, they are required by law to file and make people aware because it influences investors, right? And by the way, the customers too. Like it just annoys me. It's like one of those ones, like it's one of the ones where like a company gets hit with ransomware and their customers get their data exfilled, but the business reports that it didn't impact revenue. Like that's the update, not that like the victims or anything. It's just like, nope, we're still producing product here. We're still making money. It's kind of the ugly side of capitalism.
Zendesk helps Internet Archive after a hacker breached email system. Following up on a story we brought to you on Monday on Cybersecurity Headlines, the customer service platform Zendesk said Tuesday that it helped the Internet Archive resolve a breach it suffered over the weekend. The hacker took advantage of unsecured authentication tokens to access the archive's Zendesk system. They then sent emails to customers expressing their disappointment at the archive's failure to rotate its API keys despite being alerted to the issue 2 weeks earlier. A spokesperson from Zendesk said while they helped the archive secure its account, the Zendesk platform itself was not compromised in the incident.
Okay. This is interesting. There's a little bit of psychology here. So really quick, Zendesk is basically like a SaaS product that allows you to have essentially like a support system that's, a managed support system, right? So Simply Cyber Academy, I could use Zendesk, and then you guys have a problem, you need your password reset, whatever. You'd submit a ticket, Zendesk would process it, automation, orchestrations, fire it off to the right people, send you an FAQ, whatever. Okay, so Zendesk is quite popular. And the Internet Archive, I guess, uses it. Now, the Internet Archive, you may know it from such OSINT hits as the Wayback Machine. Been really going ham on OSINT lately. And, Wayback Machine's like right up there as a tool that people like to use in the OSINT community. They got popped. This is old news. They got popped. This was in the news yesterday. They recovered, but they didn't rotate API keys, so they got popped again. What is interesting here is that the hacker used an authentication token essentially to authenticate into Zendesk. So Zendesk was not hacked, right? Which is what they said at the very end of the story. Zendesk was not hacked. It was accessed correctly just by a criminal or by an unauthorized party who was not with the Internet Archive, but they did have a credential. It's no different than like me dropping my house keys and someone making a copy of them, and then I pick my house keys up, and then I leave to go to the grocery store and they enter my home, right? They didn't, the house wasn't compromised. The door wasn't compromised. The lock wasn't compromised. It's a door, it's a lock, it's a key. They all work. Everything's fine. So that's what happened here. What's really interesting to me from a psychology perspective, and the lesson learned for practitioners here is make sure you rotate API keys when they get compromised. Make sure you terminate sessions when credentials get compromised. But the interesting thing to me in this story, you don't see this very often, okay? Think about this for a second. Most criminals, cyber criminals who are, financially motivated typically, they're going for the straightest path possible to revenue. Straight cash, homie. This individual hacked Internet Archive. Internet Archive recovered and didn't rotate the tokens. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. So this is weird. The hacker logged into Zendesk and then messaged Internet Archive customers or people who have signed up for communication to tell them that Internet Archive sucked, right? Think about that for a minute. This hacker took the time with no benefit other than flexing like it's a 1996, anti-establishment hacker. They log in as Internet Archive, and then they email all the Internet Archive customers, for lack of a better term, to say Internet Archive sucks at security. You see what I'm saying? That's very hacktivist, very ideological, very there's, to me, the psychology of it. You don't see this very often anymore. Even youngs, 16 to 20-year-old hackers, Lapsus, for example, they're very braggadocious, very arrogant. This is a slightly different kind of hacker, avatar type or whatever persona, but it's interesting. You don't see it very often. Obviously, this hacker could have done much more nefarious things, much more impactful negative consequences, and chose not to. So it's interesting.
Samsung 0-day under active exploit. A 0-day vulnerability has been discovered in Samsung's mobile processors and is being used in an exploit chain for arbitrary code execution. NIST said the use after free bug is in the M2M scalar driver in Samsung mobile and wearable processors and leads to privilege escalation. The vulnerability was rated critical and scored 8.1 out of 10 on the CVSS scale. Samsung issued a patch along with its October set of security fixes.
All right, Samsung under active exploitation. So whenever you see under a 0-day, like a 0-day, or it could be a 1-day, an end day. Dude, WannaCry exploited an SMB vulnerability that a patch had been out for months, okay? So just because it's a 0-day doesn't mean it's extra spicy. It just means that there isn't a patch available at this time. When you see active exploitation, remember, not every vulnerability is being exploited. You can have all your doors in your house unlocked. That doesn't mean that there's a criminal in your house, right? It just means a criminal could get in your house easier. So having vulnerabilities does not equal exploitation, okay? Now, having active exploitation out in the wild means that if you have that vulnerability, you're getting a bit more likely, your likelihood. GRC Mafia doing our risk calculation, you'll get this question right on Sec Plus. Likelihood and impact. Active exploit means the likelihood value is going up, impact stays the same. Bad actors could execute arbitrary code. That's not good, right? That's right up there in the world of bad. Let's see what this one's about. Samsung's mobile processors. It's got an 8.1. Okay. All right. This is not Samsung phones, right? You might read this. If you only read the titles, you might be like, oh, I don't use a Samsung phone. It's not a Samsung phone issue. It's a Samsung microprocessor issue. You can see right here. Let's see if it says where it is deployed. NIST released an advisory on it. That's interesting. Usually CISA makes them run to it. Yeah, NIST kind of hosts the NVD. You could see 8.1 is the value. It's nice to see NIST is actually starting to use CVSS version 4. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so Samsung mobile processor and wearable processor, Exynos, 9820, 9825, 980, all these have a use after free bug, which can lead to privilege escalation. Okay, whole bunch of things here. First of all, this active exploitation is a privilege escalation vulnerability, which means you already have to have compromised the asset. All right, so that's first of all. You can't do privilege escalation if you don't have an account already on the system. That's what you're escalating, the active account you have. So to me, like a little less concerning. These processors, I don't even know where they are. I'm a little confused how you'd even get to them. In my opinion, you don't necessarily like log into a processor. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. The actor is able to execute arbitrary code in a privileged camera server process. Also rename the process. All right, so it looks like you're able to basically hijack a process. Use after free bugs is a category of software exploitation. Basically, without getting super in the weeds, when you run a program, there's processes that need to get executed, whatever. Memory gets allocated in memory and RAM, right? And then it allocates, right? This is why you can do a buffer overflow, because you can go past the amount of space that's been allocated for that process. But when you do it and it has to clear the memory, it can clear it, but sometimes you can keep a pointer to it, which basically gives you like a little bit of a space to put your own shell code in. And if you can control the pointer, you can point back to your shell code and know that that space is there available and you can put stuff there. Think of it like this. I'll give you a perfect example of, like, in my opinion, use after free. Now, the youngs, Justin Gold, Casually Joseph, you may not get this metaphor, but everyone else will. Okay, the olds will get it. Do you remember defragging? You would defrag your Windows system because there'd be like these blocks of like memory that were just gaps because of the way that the file system writes to disk and everything like that. You're not getting use after free on disk. Okay, this is not, it's just, I'm making a point. When you have those gaps in the disk, those spaces are unallocated. And if you stick something there, it doesn't break anything because the computer doesn't want to look there because it thinks there's nothing there. So basically you could stick your own shell code in this gap and point to it and execute it, and it won't cause any problems. Okay. All right. The youngs, the Justin Gold, the Casually Josephs are not happy. They are not happy. Careful, everyone. Hashtag Team SC. We might get some skibbity phantom tax up in here. Hold on, we got a super chat coming in hot.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Thomas, excited to share with the community, passed his GCIH incident handler exam yesterday. Continuous learning. Let's go. Nice. Oh, all right. All right. I've stirred the pot here with the youngs. They're getting restless. Everybody.
OPA for Windows vulnerability exposes credentials. Security firm Tenable has advised organizations using Open Policy Agent or OPA for Windows to consider updating to version 0.68.0 or later to protect against an authentication hash leakage vulnerability. The vulnerability stems from improper input validation and allows attackers to trick OPA into accessing a malicious server message block or SMB share. From there, an attacker could steal net NTLM v2 hashed credentials and crack them or potentially relay them to authenticate to other systems. Tenable said the vulnerability highlights the risk organizations face when consuming open source software and code and, quote, underscores the need for collaboration between security and engineering teams to mitigate such risks, end quote.
All right, so this one, I'm going to have to call in and assist on this. Okay, so I'm not familiar with OPA. I haven't seen it. I haven't used it. Open Policy Agent for Windows. So if you have any experience with this or know about this in chat, please drop your thoughts on this one. But essentially, there's a weakness in it that allows you to essentially force connections to malicious SMB shares, which, obviously you would control. It says post-exploitation, the attacker could relay authentication to other systems that support NTLM. Essentially, what happens is you can use this. Again, I don't know what OPA is, but essentially this hack right here is if I exploit OPA, I can force you to connect to an SMB share that I control. When you connect to the SMB that I control, you're going to push your Kerberos ticket or your hashed NTLM value, right? Whatever it is, it's a credential that I now have because you sent it to me. Whoop, whoop. And then I can turn around. And as it says here, post-exploitation, I could then relay that credential to other systems and essentially get access to them because those systems are going to think that I'm you. Also, it says you can perform offline cracking. Sure, you could take a hash and crack it, right? What is it, a hash cat? John the Ripper. Like there's different tools to crack passwords. Of course, if I crack your password, I'm immediately going to shove it into all sorts of stuff and do credential stuffing in other places. Yeah. So I don't know OPA, but this attack, this is classic. This is a classic attack. Essentially, I trick you into giving me your credentials and then I use it to log into other stuff. This is no difference than a fake phishing landing page where you put your creds in and now I got it. It's just this is being done on a Windows domain. If you are a pen tester, this is probably be a pretty cool one to throw into your toolbox in order to get creds on the network. Okay. Yeah, see how it says it allows attackers to trick OPA into accessing a malicious server message block, SMB share. And that's where the leakage happens. All right, let's go.
And now I'd like to thank today's episode sponsor, SpyCloud. Researchers at SpyCloud recently found that 1 in 5 individuals was infected with InfoStealer malware in the past year. Unfortunately, research now confirms that InfoStealer infections open the door to ransomware, but organizations with visibility into identity data stolen by malware infections are better suited to prevent a future attack. Learn more about the connection between InfoStealers and ransomware in SpyCloud's new report at spycloud.com/headlines. That's spycloud.com/headlines.
Welcome to the mid-roll. All right, y'all. I feel like my voice is getting better as the show goes on. I want to say thank you to all of you Thank you, Space Tacos, Brent B, Justin Gold, Casually Joseph, Chris Whitlock, Lara Flores, FedEx, David Crawford, Brent B, Malware Training, Roseman, Gliss86. So many of you. I know there's 400 of you in here, and I didn't say everyone's name, but I want you to know I genuinely appreciate you showing up. I see Simply Cyber community members out in the larger community, basically exhibiting the Simply Cyber brand values, supporting inclusion, respect, empowerment. Like, it's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so grateful for this community. Thank you to all of you. Now, if you'd like to help grow the community a little bit, hit the like button on YouTube. It's a small act, but it can trigger the YouTube algorithm to have other people find the channel. I don't know if we have any first timers in chat, but if today's your first episode, if you just got here, let us know with a hashtag first timer in chat. We would love to welcome you properly. Thank you again to the stream sponsors, Barricade Cyber, Delete Me, and Antisyphon Training. Did you know Antisyphon Training is absolutely disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by providing high quality, cutting edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position? You can do SOC, red team, blue team, threat hunting, forensics, purple, Python, Linux, sometimes for $0. You can literally learn from industry pros, so practical skills, and do it in a fun and inclusive way. So if you like the way that the Simply Cyber community chat is going on right now, then you will love Antisyphon Training, because it's basically the same thing except in Discord, so you get the extra funny memes and GIFs. All right. I just said GIF. Oh my God. Excuse me. GIF. Listen, there's still time, November 4th through November 7th. You can join John Strand, Getting Started in Security with Black Hills and MITRE ATT&CK. Dude, I'm looking at my calendar. I might take this. I got 20 years of industry experience, multiple degrees, certifications, and I know I will still get value from this class. You could take it for $0. If you have the time, this is an amazing opportunity. 4 days, 4 hours a day, so you can still do your work. It doesn't take you out of the flow of your job. And you can learn from John Strand. Go to antisyphontraining.com to learn more. I'm going to drop a link to John's class, and I'm going to take it for action myself to see if I can support attending this next in November. All right, dude. Every single day of the week has a special segment. Today was Worldwide Wednesday. We already went around the horn. That's super epic. Love it. We're going to just chill for a hot minute until we get our laws on. I hope everyone's having a great show. Shout out to Eric Taylor, who covered for me yesterday. Also, really quick, I want a quick shout out that if you know, Study GRC, Chris Whitlock, live stream helping people do GRC, connecting community members who want to be in GRC or work in GRC. He's moving officially to Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 Central. I'll drop a link if you want it, or tag Chris Whitlock. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central is when that's going down. Ping at Chris Whitlock for more information. All right, let's get our laws on strong, y'all. All right, let's finish strong, y'all. We're halfway there.
Exploit released for new Windows Server WinReg attack. Proof of concept exploit code is now public for a vulnerability in Microsoft's remote registry client that falls back to old transport protocols if SMB transport is not present. An attacker could use the issue to authenticate to Active Directory certificate services, where they could then obtain a user certificate for further domain authentication. The flaw affects all Windows Server versions 2008 through 2022, as well as Windows 10 and 11. Akamai researcher Steve Kupchak originally disclosed the issue back in February after Microsoft dismissed the report as a documentation issue. In mid-June, Kupchak resubmitted the report with a better POC and explanation, leading Microsoft to confirm the issue in early July and issue a fix earlier this month. Akamai provided methods of detecting vulnerable services and recommends orgs use event tracing for Windows, or ETW, to monitor for related RPC calls.
Okay. Couple things here. Like, actually, there's a lot going on here, okay? Jesus, I don't know if we have time to cover everything in this story. Okay, so check it out. There's a proof of concept exploit out for this. This is not good. I would absolutely,
You gotta patch it.
okay. There's a bunch of things here. Okay, so let's talk the technical aspects of this. There is it's basically like a fallback attack. There are protocols like Telnet, for example, or FTP that are inherently insecure, okay? This doesn't use Telnet or FTP. I just use those because people know them and it's easy. When a endpoint in a domain, like a Windows domain, connects to services like a Active Directory file server, resources, shares, whatever, okay? When it does it, it needs to basically prove that it's authorized to access those resources. This is fundamentally how Active Directory works, right? Group policy and all these things. Now, the current state of, Active Directory, it would be a secure way of handling it. But there are older protocols, deprecated protocols that still exist. Now, normally me and you don't really see those protocols because we're rocking and rolling. I got a Windows 11 box. I connect to a Windows Server 2022. We use the secure protocol off and running. However, for resiliency, say I have some old Windows machine or whatever, and it doesn't have the newest, hottest things on it, and it connects to that same server. That server wants to be able to serve that connection, so it may have to use a deprecated protocol. Basically, it'll try the secure one. That won't exist or won't work. It'll fail to the next one, fail to the next one, fail to the next one. And then if it can't do any of them, it just fails and you don't get the connection. But eventually it might get to one that works for both systems. That's what this attack is doing. This is forcing the connection, even though the endpoint can make the secure connection, it's forcing that connection to fall down to an insecure protocol, and then it's taking advantage of that. That's what the exploit does. And obviously, this is why I think you need to patch it.
You gotta patch it.
Now, remember, technically, literally, you'd have to be on the network to see the server in the first place, or to compromise the endpoint. I don't know enough about the details if you just fire it at it and forget it, or if you have to have a local access to the box. I don't know that, but you can expect more active exploitation happening because when there's a proof of concept, you basically lower the bar for threat actors because now you've got the framework, right? And a threat actor can take it and then weaponize it a bit more. Hold on one second. Okay. Now, let's talk about what I think is sexy. Okay. That's the technical stuff. Be warned, if you're a red team or pen tester, definitely add this to your toolbox. If you're a defender or really a Windows Server administrator, sometimes I put the wrong emphasis on the right syllable. Okay. You definitely want to get this sorted out. Now, what I think is wild about this one is the researcher who discovered this submitted it to Microsoft, and Microsoft said, nah, brah, documentation error. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. This guy literally said, hold my beer, or proverbially said, hold my beer, and then flexed like Super Saiyan and wrote this proof of concept exploit and released it. Right? This is like, they're like, listen, this is just a documentation error. And he's like, oh, really? Like, just straight up releasing proof of concept exploits, going whole hog on this thing, getting the notoriety that he needs. And I appreciate that. This is pretty gnarly. Okay. I'm not going to lie. You can see some threat actors have used a similar attack in the past. So this isn't the same attack, but the same concept of like basically a relay attack, if you will, stealing creds. You could say lock file ransom gang who's done it, and others. Okay, so you can see here in mid-June, the guy resubmitted the report with the proof of concept and explanation. That's when Microsoft said good to go. Another thing that makes this interesting when we talk about likelihood and impact, GRC Mafia, this affects like basically Windows Server 2008 all the way up to Server 22. So like this is like an inherent Windows operating system issue. It also affects client-based Windows. I think they said Windows 8 or 10 and 11. So as soon as they said that, I want you to know I'm looking at you, and I know you need to fix this, and it might be a good time to migrate off of Windows 2008 R2. I know it needs a schema change. I know it's a super pain in the ass. I know you've been kicking it down the road over and over again, but I think it's time to finally commit and do that upgrade so you can take advantage of all the Azure services. And you know I'm talking to you. So many people running around with 2008 R2.
Tricky CAPTCHA scheme is dropping LumaStealer. LumaStealer, which operates as malware as a service, is featured in a new campaign that uses malicious CAPTCHA pages to scam targets into clicking through the verification process. A security researcher from Qualys said when the user clicks the I'm not a robot button, verification steps are presented. Once the user completes the steps, a PowerShell command drops a malware downloader to the target machine. Previous LumaStealer campaigns have leveraged schemes from basic phishing campaigns to more sophisticated schemes on platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Cloud.
Okay, I'm sorry. The Youngs were getting me into a Dragon Ball Z conversation. Where's my? You'll have to excuse me. I have a dinner reservation at 9 a.m. That's how old I am. Okay, so LumaStealer is definitely a mainstream info stealer malware. You can go to Malware Bazaar and pull it down if you want. Be careful. Again, full disclosure, if you ever are using malware, make sure that you're using best practices. Look, how's this thing work? It inserts a fake CAPTCHA page into legit apps and fools users into executing malicious payload. Okay. How's it work? When the user clicks, I'm not a robot, verification steps are presented. Completing these steps triggers the execution of a PowerShell command that initiates the download of an initial stager. How does that work? I want more information on this. Why do we have a graphic? See, this is one of those ones where an infograph would make a lot of sense. Okay. How am I supposed to educate my end users on this? This is dumb. All right, so I don't get it. Here's the thing. It's a CAPTCHA. It looks like this, right? You click on it and then you get the I'm not a robot. But then it somehow convinces you to download something. So, and then run PowerShell on your box. Couple things. One, like this is a perfect example where like I would love to send a quick note to my end users about be careful of this exact thing, but they don't include what those steps are that triggers the PowerShell, which is super annoying to me. Here's a perfect example. Like this is something you should send your end users because Carl in accounting and my Aunt Dorothea, they all see these CAPTCHAs. Like this is a common thing. Every day we see probably 10 of these a day, right? Everybody sees it. Everybody knows it. So if this is part of an attack vector, you need to be able to say, when you see this, it could be bad, but this is what the next thing looks like that can confirm it's bad. This story fails to provide that, which makes it super difficult to reduce risk for your end user community. I would look into this a little bit deeper to see if you can get the details on the actual attack part. But you know what? Hat tip to the threat actors. They're always so clever and innovative.
Auth keys found in popular mobile apps. Symantec has reported that multiple popular mobile applications for iOS and Android come with hard-coded, unencrypted credentials for cloud services like Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure Blob Storage. Symantec says the keys are present in the app's code bases because of errors and bad practices during the development phase. Exposing these types of credentials can easily lead to unauthorized access to storage buckets and databases which contain sensitive user data. The exposed creds were found in at least 13 apps, including PickStitch, Maru Cabs, and Crumble, which have registered more than 4 million downloads each.
All right. This is one of those ones where, because of poor software practices by the vendor or the software developer, me and you, Amish Runaway, Space Tacos, Larry Shervington, our data is going to get compromised. Jessica Probst. Or Cyberkill Jane. So listen, here's the deal. Software is written by humans. Humans make mistakes. It can happen. PickStitch, Maru Cabs. I never heard of these, but at the end of the day, they're hard-coded either API keys or credentials, whatever. They've hard-coded them into the software. Anyone... Okay, Jeff S., Alpha Sierra, CompuChris, we can all go download PickStitch, right? And then crack it open using, IdaPro or Ghidra or any of these disassembly reverse engineered ones, right? If it's interpreted, right? Like APK files for Android. I'm not sure how to crack open an iOS app, but I'm sure there's a way to do it. Once you crack it open and you're looking at, either disassembled code or actual source code, credentials will jump out. They are a string. It's a string in the code. It's not assembly. It's a value, like assigned to a variable. You could pull those things out. So finding these hard-coded credentials is, I don't want to say it's trivial, but it's not. It doesn't require a PhD in cyber operations. So because of that, once you get it, you can then use it to authenticate into these blob storages or Azure S3 buckets or whatever they give access to. And that's where all the data is, right? So really, really bad practice. But unfortunately, I was you may or may not know this, Tidbits Tuesday on Wednesday. When I graduated undergrad, I thought the only job I could have was software developer. So I went and became a software developer. I intentionally don't say software engineer because my code was trash, but I got paid to professionally develop software. And I can tell you definitively, the business and everyone that isn't a software developer isn't looking at the source code. They don't know. So when whoever did the PickStitch, whoever put in those codes, okay, I'm getting confirmation. Ghidra and IdaPro can crack open iOS apps. Thanks, Casually Joseph. Whenever the developer who did the PickStitch said, hey, business, here's your app, the business literally ran it as a consumer from the front end and did all the things, right? Maybe they looked at the back end, but probably unlikely. So then the developer gets a pat on the back and off to market and none the wiser, okay? Rex with the 12 months. Nice, Rex. All right. Rex is going to tell a pizza joke to celebrate 1 year, but it was too cheesy. Love it. Thank you, Rex. Fred on coming in hot says, Professor Auger, and with a super chat too.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
I have a recipe for a pepper soup that can eat that cold away. Nobody have time for more than 3 days of cold. Oh my God.
Ain't nobody got time for this.
Yeah, Fred on. If you could share that. I love soups. I love spicy. I love curries. If you got something Ping me in general Discord, simplycyber.io/Discord. Give me that recipe. Let's go. All right. Anyways, long story short, this is bad practice. If you're developing software, you should check for these things. If you're using these apps, you probably shouldn't. If you are, and finally, if people are developing software at your company, aka your tech startup or SaaS solution, whatever, send this over to the dev team and say, hey guys, I know you would like, I'd be a little cheeky. I'd almost say, hey, only a fool would hard code credentials into the software. You guys aren't fools, are you? Like basically I would almost like throw this under the bus and then point to them and say like, I know you guys aren't doing that, but I just wanted to point that this is a real risk in our industry of developing software. And, anybody who comes on new to the team, make sure they know this. So don't call out the current dev team as doing stupid stuff like this, but make it almost very, very subtle insinuation that they could be doing that. All right, Cyber Kill Jane. Hey, Fred on. We might turn this into the pepper soup stream. If he drops it in Discord, I'll bring it up on stream. Let's go.
Swarms of fake WordPress plugins infect sites with info stealers. Domain registrar GoDaddy is warning of a malware variant disguised as a fake browser update called ClickFix. Threat actors appear to have used stolen WordPress admin credentials to systematically generate the compromised plugins using a common template. This allows attackers to scale their malicious operations and add a layer of complexity for detection. GoDaddy claims to have been tracking the ClickFix campaign since August of 2023, spotting it on more than 25,000 compromised sites worldwide. ClickFix infected more than 6,000 WordPress sites in just a one-day period in early September. GoDaddy has not yet determined how the WordPress credentials were stolen, but they have provided a long list of indicators of compromise associated with the campaign.
Yeah. Okay.
And that...
So I would guess credential stuffing if I had to. So here's the deal. Nothing's wrong with WordPress, okay? Oh my God, it's friggin' so many ads on this. All right, so here's the deal. TLDR. Educate your end users about fake browser update pop-ups, okay? Sometimes it's like a pop-up saying your computer's infected, call Microsoft, but you're really calling like an Indian call center, scam center. Sometimes it says, you got a virus. Sometimes it says you got an update. Sometimes it says you got an extension or you need an extension to view whatever it is on your page. Whatever it is, educate your end users about those type of attacks. That will address this one and the one that comes out tomorrow and the one that comes out next week. Educate your end users. That is the key to defending and mitigating this risk. Now, let's talk about this one. Essentially, when you go to a website, you're engaging with a web server. You look at your user agent, detect some stuff. Using JavaScript, it can pop things up, etc. If I control a server and I'm a criminal and I get you to come to my server, well, I can make everything pop up, pop, 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 pop. But why would you go to my server? I might trick you or whatever. Threat actors are hip to the game. And what they've done here is they have compromised thousands of WordPress servers. So WordPress allows people to kind of quickly spin up a website with some functionality without really having to fully understand what's going on. It's a great service. But threat actors crawl the internet for WordPress sites. Again, I'm speculating this part, but to me, it makes sense. They crawled the internet for WordPress sites, found the admin page, which is just /wp-admin. Like everybody knows that. You're presented with a login, then you put in a username and password, see if you get in. You can do credential stuffing. You can do password brute force attacks. All these sites, I guarantee you, that got compromised did not have multi-factor authentication on. So first of all, that's a massive problem. Second of all, you're probably using crappy passwords or reusing passwords. That's also a stupid problem, right? Easily could have been fixed. Once the threat actor gets in, they then basically weaponize your trusted, authorized server to host the pop-ups, right? So now I'm going to Fredon's recipe blog to get this pepper soup recipe. I go to Fredon's website all the time for a recipe, one recipe a week from Fredon. And now his WordPress site gets compromised. And I go there and it pops up and says, hey, you got like an update or something. I'm like, okay, like makes sense. This is a reasonable website. And boom, I'm compromised. Okay. So they're basically weaponizing the trust that users have of known websites and the authority of those existing websites in order to parlay or lower the defenses of a victim visitor to the website. This is definitely a crime of opportunity. You can't target who the victim's going to be. It's a numbers game in this instance for the threat actors. They're going to get your creds, and then they're going to iterate, try to log in all the stuff and see what they can steal. Someone call Nick Barker because we're right at 9 o'clock, straight crushing it. Guys, nothing gives me, well, a lot of things give me pleasure, but it gives me a lot of pleasure when we hit it 1 hour on the dot. Perfect. All right, y'all. Hey, really quick, I hope you got value from the stream. This was episode 735 of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. I was your host, Dr. Gerald Auger. Reminder, stay tuned. We're going to pivot over to jawjacking. You don't have to go anywhere. Jawjacking is a 30-minute Ask Me Anything mentoring session, mentoring at scale. I will answer as many questions as I can. People in chat who have answers will answer questions also. The mod team is here. We are trying to support you, deliver value, and help you achieve your cyber career goals. Remember that at 9:30 a.m., we're going to raid the Simply Cyber 2 Cyber Chicks Season 5, Episode 5, Intersection of Agriculture and Cyber. Kathy Chambers, who is a hashtag Team SC member, she's also in chat right now. She will be the guest. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you can stay with us. If you have to go, be well. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Until next time, stay secure. Hold on. Oh no, the secret's out. You guys are going to know. You guys are going to know that it's me. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Jawjack, and I'm your host, Jerry Guy, coming hot off the heels of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief with that absolute zero, Dr. Gerald Auger, walking around flexing, talking about NTLM hashes. This is a 30-minute show where we're going to answer all your questions and do everything we can. So let's get going. What can I do for you, everyone? Any questions? Any community updates? Remember, Chris Whitlock and Study GRC will be meeting at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Let's look in general chat. Does anyone see Fred on? Tagging me. I need that pepper soup recipe stat. Oh my God, general chat's popping off. Is Fred on got a Discord name? It's always rough when, oh, there he is. All right, I'm officially in general chat on Discord trying to get this pepper soup recipe. All right, here we go. Questions coming in. Cyber Umair says, I have an information security analyst interview next week at BAE Systems UK. If anyone has advice, that would be awesome. I'm new to the field, just fresh off a Sec Plus exam. Well, first of all, congratulations on the Sec Plus. Second of all, I mean, it depends what the job is. For sure, Cyber Umair. But I'll give you a couple. Things. Right. One, get a good night's sleep. Right. Like you got to be fresh for sure. Second of all, like whatever the job position is, I would look at like what the job requirements are and think about how your experience can help deliver on those particular requirements, or not requirements, but like job tasks, right? Additionally, let me see really quickly. I got a video for that. Here we go. Hold on. I'll show you in a second. I don't want the youngs to see my net deck playlist. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh my God. I have videos. I'm a little slow today. I'm sorry. I'm like kind of medicated. Okay. Here we go. Check this out. All right, here we go. This is a video. Let me move this over here. Move this over here. Look at this. I love this. You get to see how like it was like just kind of chilling and then it exploded. The YouTube algorithm's a weird thing. All right, so cyber unfair. Cyber Umair. This video right here is called Your Dream Cybersecurity Job. Crushing a job interview using ChatGPT. This will show you how you can use ChatGPT to really refine and crush the job interview experience. So I would encourage you check that out. Also, make sure you have a couple questions ready to ask them, right? Not like how much does this job pay, but things like, you know, what does success look like for this position? Why does this position exist? You know, etc. Hopefully that helps. I know, Legrat, the secret's out. Tell no one. I'm going to have to wipe this episode from the internet. Tech Ricky saying I'm a 40-year smoker. 2 packs of Pall Mall, sweetie. Oh, come on, Kathy Chambers. You gotta be there to support. Dude, it's so funny. Like Discord, people are like pinging the crap out of that post for Fred on. All right, I'm looking at chat right now. Bill Staver, how are you getting interviews? I know it's a tough market, but dang. Okay. If you're Cyber Umair or your others, Jeff S., right? If you recently got a job interview, can you drop in chat like roughly how you got it? Was it through networking? Was it through job links? If it was job links, was it on LinkedIn, Dice, whatever? Phil Stafford, I got to tell you, man, for my money, networking is where you get the jobs. All right, Andrew R says, Gerald, can we go over a Wireshark PCAP for a SIP call? What is SIP? I'm not sure. I'm looking for where the disconnect. Oh, like network capture of a VoIP type call, right? I'm looking for where the disconnect came from, the PBX or wireless caller. I mean, we can't really do that on stream, Andrew. I'm not a VoIP expert. I mean, I could certainly help you pull the PCAP. I could certainly help you with Wireshark. I mean, if it were me, honestly, I would just open Wireshark, find the protocol that is where the disconnect happens, and then remove all filters and go back up maybe, 10 or 15 packets and kind of look that way. Glee said, or GLIS86 says, did we get that CD recipe shares yet? I don't know. Haircut Fish is sharing that TCM has their free tier and it's got soft skills course. Hey, I want to tell everybody, if you like Zach Hill, he was directly responsible for that soft skills course. And you know how much Zach Hill cares about people. So definitely a great recommendation, Haircut Fish. And ignore me for looking like my monitor screen's over here and that's where all the questions are. So it's making it work. Here, maybe I'll do this. Let's see. Looking at chat. Jose Alfredo, what's a good first cyber project someone can do today to get the ball rolling on gaining more experience? Great question. First cyber project. So, I mean, it kind of depends on what you want to do. Honestly, I know it's a bit of a leap, but I think the Eric Capuano, So You Want to Be a SOC Analyst series, and I know, here, I'm going to share a link to this playlist. Okay. Look, we're going to get a little infinity screen here, but right, this playlist right here, even though you may not want to be a SOC analyst, Jose Alfredo, you may not want to be a SOC analyst, but if you follow this lab, right? I'm going to drop it in chat here at Jose Alfredo. Okay, so here's my hot take on this. If you follow this lab, which you can see the whole thing here. Wait. You can see the whole thing here, right? This is the blog post for it. I dropped it in chat again. This, you may not want to be a SOC analyst, but in this series of videos, again, here's a video of me like building the whole lab. What's so cool about it, Jose, and for everybody who's listening, is you actually get a Windows machine and an attacker machine and an EDR central managed console. You throw attacks, you see the attacks come in, you detect them, you do detection engineering, right? It's a very technical lab, but all the steps are there to walk you through it. And you get a taste of offensive security because you're throwing attacks using Sliver as a post-exploitation framework. You get SecOps blue team experience because you're doing detection engineering, seeing in an EDR console, the attacks come in, logs, looking at logs coming in, parsing through those logs, seeing those type of things. And you could kind of sprinkle a little bit of GRC love in there because you're getting a holistic picture of seeing what an information security program could look like and why you would have these tools and why you'd have policy around doing certain things. I think it's a phenomenal lab across multiple dimensions. And then no matter what interview you go into, if you go into a technical interview, well, you got all this technical stuff of throwing attacks, LSAS, dumping, detection engineering, using an EDR, or you have a lot of the non-tech stuff because you're talking about, I understand the cyber kill chain. I see how an attack can come in. I could see where I might not be able to stop it, but if I can detect it and then have automation to eradicate and quarantine and eradicate the infected system and the infected processes, well, now we're cooking with gas, baby. All right. I think that's what I'll say to that. Now, if anyone else has a hot take on a great first cyber project, let me know in chat. I'd love that. I mean, that's a great discussion item. Mods, if you guys have something for a first cyber project, let me know. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I shared this or not, but this is the lab. Okay. Very hot. So hot right now.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
Okay. What else we cooking with here? Kathy Chambers, do I go back and watch myself? Sometimes, not often. I went back and watched the beginning of yesterday's episode just to see how bad I sounded. Sometimes if I do, very infrequently, but when I do it, Kathy, it's not for entertainment purposes. It's for QA purposes. I know, Kathy, you know me, but if you've known me for a minute, you know that I'm like hyper interested in trying to make Simply Cyber as good as it can be. So if I'm trying to like improve something or do QA or something, I'll do that. I see Christina Paulika in chat, the librarian. What's up, Christina? All right, Cyber Umair. If you're comfortable, come back and share the good news with us. That would be friggin' awesome. I would love to play the wrecking ball sound for you. All right. Sean with a question. I applied for a sysadmin IT sec manager for a university. What would be the difference in a university versus a normal business? Oh my God. Okay, so for those who know, I did work at an academic medical university for 5 or 6 years. So I can speak to this 100%. And I worked in a normal business many times. Number one, at a university, they're typically not well funded. So get ready, order a roll of duct tape and a stick of bubble gum off Amazon, because you're probably going to have to use those to get some solutions in place. That's number one. I'm not poo-pooing it. You're going to have a lot of great people there. Number two, in universities, you're typically dealing with end users who want to collaborate and want to research and want to share all the things. They want to be innovative and do cutting edge things. This introduces risk because they're sharing data all over the place. They're opening VPN connections to other universities to collaborate. So it's just, you have to deal with that. And when you try to push back on a researcher, they're like, well, my research is wicked important. You're like, yeah, I understand. But bro, you're killing me, Smalls. So just be mindful of that. What I will say, and you might be able to dunk this in a job interview, if you get it, Sean, higher ed actually has a really strong, it might be the strongest one I've seen, ISAC, or Information Sharing Analysis Center. It's called EDUCAUSE. They have conferences. The email list for EDUCAUSE is really strong. A lot of great people. Again, most of them are underfunded programs, so it really does take a village to share knowledge and share resources and help each other. I've been a member of probably 5 or 6 different ISACs, and EDUCAUSE is hands down the most community-based one. All right. Tech Ricky, ain't got no time for PCAPs. I do like getting into the PCAPs though. Wireshark's fun. Malware Trini is sharing that she got a job interview by networking with a recruiter, asked a bunch of questions. Please keep me in mind for SOC positions. She eventually called. There you go. See, here's one thing to point out. One, I don't want to call it desperation, but be open to networking for networking purposes. Be transparent, be honest, right? And don't expect a job from them right now. And if they can't give you one right now, like Malware Trini's talking about, don't be like, well, then F you. You have no value to me. Get out of my face. Be like, okay, that's cool. Keep me in mind. Here's my thing. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. You never know what a conversation might turn into. That recruiter, for example, this one right here, maybe that recruiter doesn't have a job, but that recruiter's running around in recruiter circles, and they're like, one of their friends says, hey, I got this thing. Do you know anyone? And then the recruiter's like, yeah, Malware Trini's perfect for that. So do that. All right. Looking at stories here. Mara Levy, what are your thoughts on reducing risk on a WordPress site? What are my thoughts on it? I mean, you should absolutely do it. The number one thing you could do, well, there's the top things you could do for a WordPress site. Number one is make sure that the credentials are good credentials, not reused, not easy to guess. Make sure you have multi-factor authentication enabled for all users, including admins. There you go. The other thing that's a major issue with WordPress is a lot of people will just turn on and enable all sorts of plugins to try them out. And then they'll be like, oh, this plugin isn't really working for me. And then they won't disable it. So you get this huge gross attack surface. So be careful of that. Also, anyone can stand up a WordPress site. Anyone. Which means you get these shadow IT, unmanaged infrastructure, renegade WordPress sites getting stood up, which is kind of annoying. Jay Fox is saying networking's the key for getting a job. Love it. I found a YubiKey, EdgeN, thrown out. Seems new in packet, no scuffs. I don't know, Sean Porter. I don't know. I don't know, man. I wouldn't use something I found, especially for something that's like security related. I mean, you could do it. You could plug it in for fun and see if it sends any kind of like network traffic out somehow. Deadly Plank says, currently trying to get my first job searching in Europe. Found it difficult to get a SOC 1 junior pen test, even with a master's in EJPT. Advices, yeah. My number one advice to you would be, where is there's a Discord for I think his name is Charles. Where is it? There's a Discord for, it's a really nice guy. He's a cyber recruiter. I think his name is Charles. It's been a minute since we engaged with each other. He rebranded it recently, but I have so many Discord servers, I can't find it. But I would connect with him and get on that server. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Because that they post jobs all the time in Europe. I can't find it right now, which is super annoying. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, look. This is Cyber Job Hunting Discord server. Okay, and I'll link this in a hot second. But you could see here they have EU job boards, UK job boards. They have other ones, but this one is mostly focused on Europe. So, like, as soon as you say Europe, my very first thought is go here, right? Here, I'm gonna copy this. And I'll send this to you in a hot minute. Who asked that question? Deadly Plank? All right, Deadly Plank. Let's get it done. Deadly Plank. There you go. Again, I'd recommend you network, obviously, in the area, but like that Discord server is definitely a great place to go. Also, Deadly Plank, I know you have a master's. I know you have EJPT. What I would do, depends if you want to get SOC job or pen tester job, but I would start doing like practical skill labs, like so you want to be a SOC analyst, or like bug bounties or something like that. Something that you can put on your resume to demonstrate practical skills. That's the thing. Practical skills reign supreme in our industry right now. Okay? That's number one. Number two, make sure when you're documenting it on your resume that you're doing it as impact statements, right? It's really cool that you cracked. It's really cool that you like did something, like completed 30 rooms on Try Hack Me, right? That's cool. But like, what is the impact to the business? Because the business is the one hiring you, right? Oh, wow. Okay. I see chat is now, or mod chat's putting mod chat questions in. This is great. Rich464 says, what do you think of the Anthropic announcement regarding teaching Claude to navigate computers? Use data from my computer and online to fill out this form. Dude, AI is getting out of control.
Shall we play a game?
They're just going to keep doing it, right? They're just going to keep doing it. I got to tell you, even though Claude doesn't get a lot of pub, I feel like it's Gemini and ChatGPT. I use all three of them. I really like Claude for business related stuff. It's like I pay for it. I pay $20 a month for Claude because I think it's that good. See you later, Jenny Housley. Oh, she left like 20 minutes ago, but yeah, no, Eric Taylor. I know how to Google a pepper recipe. I wanted Fred On's recipe so I could use I wanted to use his. All right, Marianne Albright, when we need to find out about the Difference Makers Award, I want to know if Simply Cyber got it. Okay, so check this out. Some of you may know that Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast was nominated and is a finalist for the SANS Difference Maker Award 2024 Podcast of the Year. TLDR, the Morning Threat Brief is a finalist for a prestigious Podcast of the Year award, okay? The ceremony where they're going to be announcing the winners is December 15th, Mariana. And it's in DC. And I RSVP'd yesterday. Mrs. Auger and I will be going. She'll be my +1. How lucky am I to have her as my +1? God dang. So she'll be my +1, and you find out live at the event if you won or not, which I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not super geeked up about that because either I'm going to win and then be like, ugh, or I'm going to lose and I'm going to be, oh. Either way, I'm, oh, right? So, but that's the terms and the conditions. So wait until December 15th, 16th for more information on that. I hope we get it. It would be huge for the community and for the for Simply Cyber to get the Podcast of the Year. That's awesome. Chris Whitlock's saying that Waldo says, considering your background in computer science, why is it that you deep dived into GRC rather than engineering? Honestly, it's probably twofold. So number one, I have computer science bachelor's, computer science master's. My PhD is incredibly technical. But when I pivoted into cybersecurity, I was a software engineer. The reason I even found out about cybersecurity in the early 2000s was because my code, I was working for the Marine Corps. I wrote software for the Marine Corps, which was required to get audited for FISMA compliance, essentially, or DIACAP. And my code got all sorts of red marks. And I asked the auditors, I'm like, what are you talking about? My code's awesome. I took it as a personal affront, right? My code's awesome, all this. And they're like, no, look at all this stuff that you didn't do. You don't have logging. Your authorization and authentication mechanisms suck. There's a lot of things wrong here. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I got kind of pissy. So I consumed all of the things that they did, which was essentially information security controls, standards, think NIST 853. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is awesome. So I got hot on it initially by finding out about GRC. Then I got my first cyber job as a Sarbanes-Oxley security auditor for COBIT, right? Which is, it doesn't matter, but my first gig was as an auditor. So if my first gig had been in a SOC, maybe I would have gone up the SOC path, but I got my first gig as a, even before that, my first gig was vulnerability management and then operation transformation. So me and another guy went into a business, Aubon Pan, if you've heard of it. It's like a bakery kind of. And we did an entire enterprise risk assessment, found a bunch of bad, and then helped them migrate up to known good states and stuff like that. But mostly I'm GRC because mostly all the work I've done was it. So the career kind of picked me, not me picking the career. I could have pivoted, but honestly, I like organization. I like standards. I like, everything has its place and every place has its thing. And for me, GRC just kind of fits there nicely. So that for those reasons, I went with GRC. All right. Looks like we're going to be. Also, Chris Whitlock points out the fact that you have more time to make GIFs and memes in GRC, which is so true. Plus, I love people, and the GRC people get to talk to the business, which is very nice. All right. It's almost time for Two Cyber Chicks, Kathy Chambers interview, season 5, episode 5. I'm going to drop a link in chat. Thank you all so very much for being here today. I hope you got value from the stream. Remember, let's go raid 2 Cyber Chicks. If you have to go, We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time. I'm Jerry, your chat. Until next time, y'all, stay secure. We got 1 minute, 50 seconds. Bye.